Welcome back to Glowing in Tech. This season, we've got some new changes for the third season. So today, we've got our new co-host joining us. I'm Jessie.
And I'm Shantelle.
And this is Glowing in Tech. So I'd love to get into figuring out who you are and how we met.
How we met? I think we should start there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's Black Valley, no?
Black Valley, yeah. So 2020.
2020, yeah.
I was doing a coding bootcamp at the time, and Black Valley, an incredible organization trying to create a kind of Silicon Valley for the Black community in the UK, were doing career accelerators. So I was on there as a mentee. Were you on the same?
I was on that as a mentee as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
So we both loved it so much that we ended up volunteering with Leke and helping to facilitate the next cohorts of mentees and mentorships, but also diving into the whole VC incubator that they ran.
Yes, and the founder cohorts too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like ages ago.
It was a very long time ago. We were so early and
we
new.
were so green.
Yeah, so green. And it was incredible because we got exposure to the kind of tech ecosystem and the stages. I don't know about for you, but for me, it was like I hadn't really had exposure to what it takes to build a tech company. And I felt very lucky to be like part of seeing what somebody needs to do in order to take an idea all the way to pitching it at the investor night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It was like I knew nothing about tech before Black Valley.
Yeah.
It's incredible how like transformative that was.
It was. You were just starting your first product management role?
Yeah, I was. I was an engineer before that.
But not a software engineer?
Not a software engineer, no, hardware. And yeah, I was doing nuclear engineering at the time.
So cool.
Which sounds kind of crazy, but yeah, and then the pandemic came. I think everything happened with George Floyd. I think that was a turning point for a lot of like Black people all across the world.
Yes, yeah.
And I just decided I didn't want to do my job anymore. Like I could do it, but it didn't make me happy. And then I was on Clubhouse. Yeah, what a throwback. I was on Clubhouse. I was listening to the Americans talking about tech, and I was like, what is this? Like, have I been living under a rock this whole time? And then that's eventually how I kind of got into Black Valley.
Super
Started
cool.
looking into tech opportunities.
And did you have the product management role before Black Valley, or that was
my first big pivot.
So cool.
Yeah, it was I literally was an engineer, looking at nuclear reactors. And then I just decided, I was like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to get into tech. I looked into like UX design. I think UX design was hot like back then.
Yes.
Everyone wanted to be a designer, but I can't draw. So I tried it. I liked it, but it wasn't for me. And I guess the scientist in me wanted to understand why we made those decisions. Like, why do we design applications in a certain way? Like, why do people use things in a certain way? So I went into UX research.
Okay.
And I did a course. I think it was on like Coursera or something. I looked into UX research. I said, this is really cool, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I want to do something bigger. I want to like kind of maybe be in the middle of like UX, but also business. And then that's when I found product management.
So cool. So what was it that appealed to you about product management?
Oh, you get to be busy. Like you will sit with the developers, with the sales team, with the legal team, with the marketing team. You will actually talk to like your users to really understand their needs. And then you translate that back into the business. For me, it was like, that's the value add. Like you can build like something really cool, but if people don't need it, then they're not going to use it. And I wanted to like work on that.
Yeah, there's so much like decision making, but also like validation that happens as being a PM. It's like such a pivotal role in any tech company. Just at the end of when we were volunteering with Black Valley, you started to. I just saw you all over social media winning everything. Like I remember seeing like, there's Shantelle. Oh, she's won another hackathon. So tell me about that. You like went straight into this crazy tech world of hackathons.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So I probably started my product role. And then 3 months later, I went down the blockchain rabbit hole. And I was just learning so much about decentralized technology, like things like NFTs, because it was like NFT time at that time. I was learning about like DeFi, like what's a flash loan, like all of these things. And it was the day before Christmas. And I applied for a scholarship to go to a blockchain conference. And I had not been to a tech conference before,
Wow.
but I saw it online. There was this organization, it's still around today, it's called Her DAO. And they were onboarding 200 women into the space, into the blockchain space. And I was like, okay, I just started working in tech. That's fine. But this is cool. I want to know about it. So I applied on Christmas Eve. By Boxing Day, I had the confirmation that I would be going. I
Wow.
booked my flights. Obviously I spoke to I had a job, so I spoke to my manager, and I was like, I'm gonna go to this conference. I had a study budget at the time, so I used that in my role. And yeah, the rest is history. I started competing in hackathons. That was the first one I did. I didn't win anything though. I
Oh,
didn't know how
really?
hackathons worked.
Yeah,
I didn't.
yeah, yeah. The first one's always the hardest.
Yeah, it's trying to figure out like, okay, what are we building? How do we build this? And as like the product person, what does a good team structure look like?
Mm.
So my team just had too many non-technical people on it at the
Mm-hmm.
time. And we need more developers. And I think we would have won some bounties, but we didn't. But after that, my next hackathon was in Amsterdam. So I was traveling at this time. Yeah, my next hackathon was in Amsterdam, and yeah, I was a finalist at probably
Yeah.
one of the most technical hackathons of the time.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. And I think, did you continue building that product afterwards for a little while?
We did. So the interesting thing was like, and what we didn't expect at the time was we went on stage, we pitched, and at that point we attracted the attention of a bunch of VCs or venture capitalists who fund tech, I guess, who fund tech.
Yeah.
Um, So it attracted so much attention from them. I was getting inundated with emails as like the project leads of like, are you going to continue? We would love to like have meetings with you, because at that point when we'd won the hackathon, we had established like this product market fit. So it was like, we know that the community wants an application like this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we've had like validation from like very experienced developers in the space. So we kept going for a few months. But the interesting thing and the crazy thing about blockchain and Web3 or crypto um, is that it moves very quickly.
Mm.
So after a few months, there wasn't that much interest in what we were building. Um, but it has like come back again now.
Oh,
So yeah, people are
interesting.
interested in what we built, and like, I get messages about it to this day.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And is this something you were doing all of this while you were working full time as a PM?
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, it was very generous time of remote working, and
Yeah.
I just was doing it. I was taking holiday and doing stuff like this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I wasn't ready to travel anyway. I was like, oh, maybe not. But I was not like travel for like holidays, but I was like, yeah, let me use my holiday time to travel the world and build cool
And it's
things.
so valuable because you were building so many skills, and you're in, like, anyone who's been in a hackathon knows that they are intensive periods of
Yeah.
intense growth and
No sleep.
learning, no sleep.
No sleep.
You're exposed to a whole bunch of different people who are in their own right skilled in all these different areas that you just wouldn't get at work. Like, you don't get to
Absolutely
work
not.
with that many new people if you're in the same place for a while. So I've always loved hackathons for that. Like, I get to meet all these incredible people.
They're so good. You bond with them. Like,
Yeah.
you also get better at your own skills as well.
Mhm.
You learn so much from them. I think I had quite a senior development team for like my second hackathon, like the one that we won in Amsterdam. Oh, it was crazy. Like, I would never just like meet them and be like, "Hi, I don't know anything,
That's
but
it.
let's build something together."
Yeah.
That doesn't happen like generally at work, you know?
Because it's like a passion filled room, isn't it? Like, the people that have traveled to Amsterdam to go and build a thing in a weekend, like, they really care about the tech and
Yeah.
they really know about it as well. So cool. So when did you make that transition? Because your day job, full time PM, you were not in the crypto
I
Web3
was not
world.
in crypto. I was in fintech at the
Yeah.
time, and I was working for a fintech in London. And what happened was that trip to Denver like changed my life. I
Mm.
actually met my like boss or my next boss at that conference. And at every other event I went to, I would just like meet up with him, and then we would like catch up about like the things I'd been building. And then he hired me. Uh,
So cool.
like 4 months later.
Amazing. See, that's such an underrated way to find your next employer.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
hackathons are full of people looking for that passion and
Yeah.
that kind of dedication. So that's amazing. So you went full steam into
I quit my job. I was like, I want to be a blockchain girly.
Mhm.
And then I did that. Yeah.
And how did you feel? Are we still in 2020, 2021 by this point?
We're in 2022 now.
Oh, 2022. So how did you feel with the volatility of it? Because I know something that puts a lot of people off moving into Web3 is like, it can change in a week, it can change in a day. You don't know what's going to be next. Like you were passionate, you've been like in that space for a couple of years. And then you
Yeah.
were like, okay, I'm going to put all my eggs in this basket now.
Yeah.
Like, what was that like?
Do you know what the thing of my crypto story is so interesting because I used to watch the news a lot growing up. And I remember when Bitcoin was born. And I remember like telling like my parents and being like, oh, this is really cool. Cause I was a bit of a nerd growing up too. And I was like, this
Love
is
that.
so cool. Like, we should be like looking into this. But I was a kid, so like they didn't take me seriously. So, but once I like, had a little bit of money myself, I started buying crypto maybe like 2017, 2018. So
Wow.
I'd already been through a few cycles.
Yeah.
And by that time in 2022, when I decided to start working in crypto, we was the end of the bull market. Like the good times were going. And you can kind of see a lot of projects dropping off. Like I said, the space moves very quickly.
Mhm.
So I knew that I was getting ready to like work hard in like
Yeah.
the bear market, which is the tough time when like the prices are lower.
Yeah.
So I wasn't shaken because I was familiar with the industry already. It was already like a passion project of mine. I just didn't understand that people were building technology on top of blockchains.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
knew
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
crypto. I knew
Yeah.
about tokens and trading. I just didn't know about like the whole other world,
I
the
see.
infinite garden.
So you were aware of the kind of volatility of it. You kind of knew that the good times are coming to an end with trading, and you were like, this is the time now to make the most of the fact that the tech is still going to be built, regardless of whether
Yep.
the meme coins and the stocks are doing well. Like, this is a good time to get in.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
They always say builders build in the bear market because
Ah,
there's no noise. Like
yeah.
like right now, I think that we are, or like at this time, we're kind of heading into, or in the bull market already, and we're heading into like the fun times where everyone gets involved.
Yeah.
But when the prices go down, like 90% of like crypto goes quiet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
just left with people that really want to build cool things and like change the world.
Yeah. That's such an interesting perspective because the bit that's always been like quite intimidating to me is how quickly it can turn. But if you're right, you're focused on the tech behind it as opposed to the quick like fads. Because you
Yeah.
must have seen so many like
Oh, so many things. Oh my goodness. But a very interesting thing is, and we spoke about hackathons, a lot of the huge blockchain products that exist today, they came from hackathons.
Mm,
And people kept building. They didn't care if the market was down. They kept building. They kept adding like functionality to the space. And now they're like the giants of the space.
that's so cool. All the more reason to get involved in those kind of things. Incredible things do come from hackathons.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky enough to work somewhere that like we do monthly hack days. And it's like, you'd be surprised how many like one-off engineer ideas end up in production and being used by people. Because once you give people the free reign and the creativity to explore something, especially if they're the builders and they're the experts of that space, like they're going to have some really valid ideas. And yeah, I love the idea of, as a technical person, as a somebody that's involved in building, like having that opportunity to be creative. Like
Yeah.
you can, have so many
That's
innovative ideas.
incredible. Yeah. And even if you feel like you don't know enough,
Yeah.
like it's literally that idea. That's why you work in teams, because everyone is able to have their input and like really like form the idea.
Mhm.
You can like seed it. I remember we were just ideating and I just said something, and then someone else said something else, and then it just became this fully fledged idea. Next thing I know, like the engineers were like drawing things out, and I was like, okay,
So
it looks like we
cool.
have a team.
Yeah, amazing. And so now you've had PM and product marketing roles for a little while.
Yes. So at the time when I joined the blockchain space, I joined as an ecosystem builder. So that was a mix of business development, marketing, a tiny bit of product. So I'd actually moved away from like actually doing product management. Um, but another thing that happened after winning the hackathon was I found myself on a talent accelerator.
Yeah. Oh my God. How? Yeah. Of course. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I did. So I'd I think I wrote a blog post after I went to Denver talking about wow, like I'm blown away by blockchain essentially. And I learned so much going to this one conference. Um, and then I went to Amsterdam and we were on stage and I came off stage. This guy comes up to me and he's like, "Are you from London?" And I was like, "Yes." And then he was like, I would love it if you applied for Entrepreneur First. We are like the biggest talent accelerator in Europe. Think of like Y Combinator. When you think of Entrepreneur First, it's like the European equivalent.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, like I'll apply for it. I was like, I'm still new, but let's go. And I did, and I got on the cohort, and for around 4 months, I was a founder in residence.
Amazing.
Yeah, I was looking and researching at the intersection of Web3 and the creator economy. It was an incredible time. I met so many really, really cool people that we're still connected to this day.
Yeah, I mean, EF is known for having a very high caliber of who they accept. So I can imagine that, like, you would have been around a load of really, really impressive people as an impressive person yourself. So one of the things I think is a theme, a real theme for your journey is this involvement with entrepreneurship. And like that starts
Yeah,
with Black Valley and being involved in that entrepreneurship,
yeah.
mentorship, and an incubator, and then going through into these hackathons where
Yeah.
you're building products as essentially
36 hours,
yeah,
you just go.
yeah. And then while you're doing your day job of helping somebody else build theirs, like that seems to be something you're coming back to.
Yeah.
So
Always tending towards entrepreneurship.
yes,
Oh, would
yes.
you look at that?
Well, I raise it because it's going to be one of the themes of the things we discuss
Absolutely.
this season.
Absolutely.
I think there are a lot of incredible entrepreneurs in the UK. As much as people like to say the UK doesn't have as much going on as the US, I think that there's a lot of arguments against that. And yeah, I'm just something that fascinates me as well is people's um, ability to create and to build and
Yeah.
to find a way to overcome the systemic barriers that are in the
Yeah.
UK. Um, yeah,
I feel like founders in the UK just aren't as loud about it.
yeah.
Maybe there's like a marketing problem. There was always a marketing problem, but
There is
I
always a marketing
think
problem, and I think there's a cultural problem with
yeah.
that, and that is a take that I see a lot on the internet about like the way that we British people have like a very
Yeah, we
humble,
downplay
yeah,
and we minimize ourselves, and it's
yeah,
so true. It's
yeah.
so true. And that was actually something that was said to me when I was interviewing for Entrepreneur First.
Oh,
They
really?
said to me, like, you don't do that. And I was like, yeah, I've been hanging out with Americans. Oh, Americans, they'll tell you like their whole history before they ask you a question.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So exactly, that's like a really interesting thing that I think
We should absolutely focus on.
yeah.
And there's also the flip side to that as well.
Hmm.
So after I was doing like the BD and stuff, I moved into a venture studio at a company, and I was like doing product marketing, and I was working on these like incubated products. But it also made me think about like, how do we fund these ideas?
Yes. Yeah.
And so I think we should also touch on the funding side of things. Like, do
Yeah.
you take venture capital, or do you take private equity? Do you bootstrap it, your ideas? Like, what's the best way to fund an idea that you have?
Hmm.
I think that would be beneficial.
Yeah, 100%. And now, how about what you're doing now? What are you up to? Can
Oh,
you share some of that?
oh, let's see. So now, I actually left my job in last year in November
Hmm.
because I was tired, honestly. And sometimes you just take breaks, like you actually
Hmm.
do. And now I am becoming technical.
Yes,
I'm
she's
doing a
joining the
coding
dark
boot
side.
camp. I think one thing about like that I've always loved to do is tinker with technology. And there was a point last year where I was trying to build this application no code. And it was so frustrating because it would have been easier if I could code. And that was just like a fun like side project. So I just decided with this like sabbatical that I'm on, I might as well like learn some skills. So
Absolutely.
I'm doing a boot camp, 3 months software
Amazing.
engineering. Yeah, maybe I'll keep you guys updated.
So cool. And like, even if, because I think coding boot camps are so helpful and useful, and I've done one, and it was how I became a software engineer. But I also know so many people that did one, did it for a bit, went on to do something else, and like just having that foundational knowledge just changed what they can do.
Yeah, I think it's so much more than just programming because like you learn how to problem solve,
Yeah.
but then like you also learn like how to look at a problem holistically.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that is so transferable.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, even if like I don't end up coding, which I'm gonna end up coding, then I think the skills will still be like very, very beneficial.
Yeah, 100%. And I see a future for you with entrepreneurship, and starting something of your own. And I think that so many people who go in to tech as non-technical founders can struggle with a lot of things, but even just having a very basic understanding and knowing, having the confidence to be able to say, like, I think this is the way we should do something,
Yeah,
even if you're not the one to do it yourself,
yeah,
I think makes you so powerful and so, yeah, have so many options open to you.
yeah, absolutely. You're able to relate with the people that are building your ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like the most important thing, and that's something that they're drilling down on us in the boot camp. It's like learn how to speak about what it is that you want to build and how you would build it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's a skill, and it's a skill I didn't have as a product manager.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I didn't have it as well. I could describe what it is I wanted, but I had no idea how to make it happen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah. And then, so with that kind of dynamic, do you feel like it was harder for you to, I guess, predict, or I don't know, because I've always imagined a PM's job, and maybe I know it's different everywhere, but you're having to estimate and talk up to the stakeholders. So
Yes.
is that part like dictated by essentially what the engineers said?
So at the time, I took over a squad, like very junior. Like I said, I wasn't a product person before.
Yeah.
Maybe like 4 to 5 months into my role, I ended up taking over my squad because my like product manager had left,
Mm-hmm.
and but she also wasn't technical. Like I think she'd been a tester before,
Mm-hmm.
but she wasn't a developer. So we had like this three amigos that we would always have, and I would sit with the designer, and I would sit with the like engineering manager, and we would discuss like each of the tickets to estimate them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it was hard in the beginning because I didn't really have a clue. Like I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, and I would lean on my engineering manager, but you build confidence over
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's a really important thing. And then with the ecosystem builder,
Yeah,
that really, like, I love the name of the role first of all, but also that community building aspect, right? Like you're
absolutely.
having to run a community and keep people involved.
Yeah.
Because from what I understand with crypto and Web3, so much of the product is dictated by the people that use it
Absolutely.
and build with it, right?
Mhm.
Um, so what was that like?
Oh, it's so difficult.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm like, wow, yeah, no. It was hard because you have to find very creative ways to communicate with people that are like insanely intelligent. Like if imagine like your whole community is just like developers.
Hmm.
You're not a developer, but you're trying to also communicate these very complex things from like these internal complex things like externally. I find it quite fun though because I was able to put my spin on things. Like, there was a time when I had a podcast. Oh my gosh, this is my second
Yes, yeah,
podcast.
I do remember. I do
Yes.
remember.
I had a podcast. It was crazy one man band. Like, and I would interview founders in my ecosystem and we talk about the problems they're solving. We talk about technology updates and we talk all about blockchain. But the aim was that anyone could listen to it and follow along.
Mm.
So it was breaking down these really complex topics into like really easily understandable conversations. I did so many things like, like the Web3 community loves memes. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Strong meme
Yeah,
culture.
strong meme culture. But it was hard, but it was very fulfilling because you end up making a lot of friends. A lot of people know you.
Hmm.
Um, and all I'm trying to do is help your idea grow.
Yeah.
right? I'm trying to give you advice. Like, I guess I was able to lean a bit more on my product background as well and be like, hey, why would we do it like this? Like, how have you thought about other ways um, to kind of like market things, to push things? So yeah, it was hard, but it was good.
Yeah, no, and I think it's such an important role. Like community building, it specifically is like a fascinating career for me because you're kind of the one that is democratizing the information. You're
Yes.
breaking it down, you're making it digestible, and your role is to kind of help people, I guess, kind of on board onto the technology, right?
Yep,
Like you're trying
onto
to,
the blockchain.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was for the blockchain because the company I was working for had like many arms, but the ecosystem was like, okay, how do we retain but also attract builders to the blockchain, so developers, um, but then also when they're here, how do we keep them?
Mm-hmm.
And like grants are a huge thing in Web3. Like a lot of foundations, a lot of blockchain companies themselves give out grants to incentivize developers to build. But the one I was working for didn't.
Oh, interesting.
So that's what I mean. I had to be very creative in the ways that I would like
Yeah.
try and help support these teams. So yeah, it was a challenge, but it was so good. And I feel like it will help me going forward in
Yes.
whatever I do
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because when you're working the ecosystem, you have to like it's like rejection therapy. It's not easy.
It's not easy at
No, like
all.
you are constantly just like messaging people, trying to get their attention, trying to like bridge the gap for these teams that maybe don't have the resource to do that. Um, but I really did enjoy my time working in the ecosystem. And I think that's like fueled my interest in like venture building.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
another thing we're going to be discussing a lot.
Yeah,
I'm really, really excited to talk
okay.
about. Um, so on that topic of like, if I'm someone who's listening who doesn't know very much about Web3 or crypto,
Yes.
how would you advise I get into it, understand it? Like, it's a very, very intimidating topic, and there's a lot of snake oil.
There's a lot of jargon.
Yeah.
You like maybe even half the things I've said, I'm like, it's been jargon and I've just been in it too long.
No.
But what I would say is there's a wonderful organization um, specifically for women
Mm-hmm.
that are interested in blockchain technology, in crypto. And this goes from investing to actually like what Web3 is. And it's called SheFi. So SHEFI. We'll put it in the show
Mm-hmm.
notes. And they do a onboarding course. It's like week by week, a class every week, breaking down like all of these blockchain topics in a cohort-based environment. So not only do you learn about blockchain, you also meet a bunch of women all over the world that are interested, that do so many different things, and you also build community that way. They have chapters all over the world. So there's a chapter in London, like
Oh,
we're in London.
amazing.
So and they meet up very regularly. They do like Pilates, yoga, different
Oh,
things,
that's so cool.
just so that you know you're not alone in the space because it can
Yeah.
feel like it's like Web3 and crypto is very male dominated.
That's something I wanted to touch on too.
And the culture or the legacy culture,
Yeah.
um, it's not the best. So that's why like organizations like Her DAO, like She Fight, there's one called Boys Club. Um, they exist to kind of give you that sense of community
Yeah.
that
And
you
that's
aren't
so
alone.
important. Like representation within tech is bad, but from my understanding, it's worse in
Oh,
Web3. And
it's shocking.
so, what has that been like for you?
Like I think because like I said, I was working in the nuclear industry. I don't
Hmm.
know how many women
Oh, yeah.
you
You came from.
expect to work. And I studied engineering too. There's also not that many women. So in my kind of professional life, I've always been like one of the few women.
Hmm.
But one thing that I have always tried to do in like any of the spaces I've been in is onboard more women.
Yeah.
So I will always like I'm so open to talking to people about like crypto and blockchain and especially women. And it's like I'll happily signpost you. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
Hmm.
Um, because there isn't enough women. There's not enough women. There's like no black women
Hmm.
working in maybe like I would say like the Western Web3.
Yeah.
But I felt like a unicorn at
Yeah, I
work.
can
Yeah.
imagine. I can imagine.
But the good thing it's remote, so
yeah, yeah, there's a lot of benefits to that.
it's like you don't have to go into the office and like feel
Yeah. I
othered.
think it's 0.7% of people in technical roles are Black women. So I can't even imagine of what the percentage would be of Black women in
No,
Web3.
no.
But on the flip side of that,
Yep.
because it's a new and emerging technology and it is so, the whole point is you're democratizing access to
Yes.
the blockchain. There is like more of a grassroots movement to it within the diaspora, right?
Yes. So like the interesting thing about blockchain, because we talk about, and it's also hard to talk about like the amount of like diverse talent in the space,
Right.
because it shouldn't actually matter
Okay.
with like the actual blockchain ideals. It shouldn't matter. Like everyone should be able to be a part of the space. It doesn't really matter what you look like. But obviously when you're working for companies, that bias is introduced.
Mhm.
In the diaspora is very different. Like, of course, like everybody's black.
But what I mean is that there are a whole load of startups in,
Yes.
like, I know you've spent a lot of time in Ghana
Yes.
and Nigeria, and is
Yeah.
it Accra?
Ithaca, yes.
Yeah. And that's not something that I've seen a lot of for more incumbent technology.
Yes. So it's because like you have this idea of like fair launches in crypto. So you're actually able to raise money without like having to go through all of the bureaucracy that you would in like the traditional world.
Right.
So you're able to seed ideas
Mhm.
a lot easier. The interesting thing is there are a lot of like grassroots communities across Africa. I could name them, like literally, like I embed myself in them because like I absolutely love I love being in Africa. I just want to do that right now. Yeah, so there's so many of them. But like the bigger companies tend to ignore Africa still.
Right.
That yeah. There's so many people in Africa. But the big companies tend not to like put their resources there.
So there's less funding still.
There's still less funding. That
Okay.
is replicated in the blockchain world too.
Right. Okay.
I say that, but not all. I cannot be cancelled, you know? But there are like you have like movements now. So we've got like some blockchains that are native or like they're trying to push to the African market natively.
Mm.
And then you have like some of the big ones are now coming over and launching ambassador programs and things like that.
That's cool.
But I think the hard thing about it is you have to assess what's needed. So
Mhm.
like Africa has infrastructure problems,
Mhm.
and that is true. But then also the level of development is different
Mhm.
in like depending on who you're targeting. So I think that there's got to be like more work done in like actually figuring out what like who are we trying to like work with
Yeah.
and what would be most beneficial for them.
Yeah, like what are the needs? Because we've spoken about this before. The kind of products that are being built in the hackathons in Ghana are not going to be the same kind of
No.
problems people are tackling in San Francisco.
No.
So you can't assume, like, in that sense, democratization doesn't really apply because there's a different set of problems. So you need to treat it differently, right?
Yeah.
So that yeah, I find it fascinating, and it's
Yeah.
really cool that you've gotten to see both of those worlds, right?
It's been a crazy journey.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for like another year. Like, to see what I get up to.
So which one, what excites you about the future of Web3 and crypto?
Oh, I think it's the same thing that got me into the space. And it's the fact that there's no real rules about what you can build.
Mhm.
Like you can do really innovative things on the blockchain that don't require permission from anyone. And I think that's the cool thing. It's seeing what people build that really like helps their communities, makes their lives a lot easier, that they do not require permission from maybe their bank or their government, you know. Everything legal, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that's exciting. Like that it's kind of like limitless.
But it's just what we were talking about earlier with the fact that you've got the people applying it in innovative ways to the very local problems.
Yes. So I think I was saying that like I've been going to a lot of conferences and I've been to a number of events and a number of hackathons, and I've seen the different types of projects that people
Mm-hmm.
build at hackathons.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like in the Western world, like if I'm in, it's actually not, I don't think it's even the Western world, because I think in like Asia, like America, like North America and Europe, you see people building like protocol level. They're not necessarily building to solve a problem that people have. It's more so like, oh, this would be cool if it was possible.
Yeah.
And they kind of build to that dream. Whereas when I was in Africa and when I've been to these blockchain conferences, what I've seen is that people build solutions for their communities. They build for like to solve problems that they actually have.
Mm-hmm.
And the ideas aren't as big in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I was talking to a founder. He is Ugandan, and we were in Asia for like the biggest Ethereum conference. And he said, coming here, like opened my eyes to see like what can be built.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's just exposure,
Yeah.
or just like knowledge sharing. So that's kind of one of my personal missions going forward. Like,
That's
how much knowledge
amazing.
can I share?
Yeah. And I've felt a very similar thing with the time I've spent in South Africa. There's a really cool project between Samsung and UWC in Cape Town where they do boot camps for young people within the community, give them access to like the resources to build things. And they have essentially like, I think it's a 9-month program. And by the end, they've built a fully fledged app feature. And yeah, it's like the creative solutions that people come up with when they have the ability to like
Yeah.
put those ideas into practice. Like, and they are so often community based. Like it's, how do I make the world a better place? And that's the thing I love. And what makes me excited about what excites you with Web3 is like, as soon as you give access to those tools,
Yeah.
people can have such a profound impact about and with things that nobody else would have thought about.
Yeah.
Like it's just, yeah, really, really amazing.
And I think also because like the space is so exciting, it pulls people into tech.
Mm-hmm.
Like the founder that I was speaking about, he taught himself to code.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Love that.
Taught himself to code because of like blockchain.
Ah,
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I love this space.
yeah,
It's a
so
bit
much
crazy.
passion.
It's a bit crazy. It can be toxic at times. But once you like get to like your area, yeah.
Have you ever had people doubt your abilities because of who you are is it in the same sense? Like you've done
In
normal tech,
Web3
yeah,
or
versus Web3. Like which one would you say is more hostile in your personal experience?
oh my gosh, like the real world.
Yeah, fair. No, neither of them, just the real world.
No, I don't feel like working in Web3 has been hostile at all. When you're young, especially when you're a woman, like people just don't take you seriously.
Yeah.
And like I'm also quite like jovial. And I always say this, I'm like, that does not work to my advantage at work. Because people don't really take you as serious. It's like, I'm very intelligent. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like not being like, you should do this,
Yeah, you've not fit the archetype or their expectations.
That's what I found a lot. Like I don't fit the archetype of like once employee.
Coming back to the entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
that's
I know.
why I
It's
think
like,
that's
I
where
had to
you
create that. I had to create my own.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because I'm like kind of like fun and playful, but like I'm really interested in like the hard things. So yeah, it comes back to bite me a little bit. I think.
But I think that's
not
true.
really,
I
not
think that's
really
true in
that bad.
like all tech. Like I've definitely felt that.
It's like you have to be serious. You have to like lower your voice. Like you have
Yeah.
to like not smile or laugh, and yeah, I think that's horrible. You should be able to be yourself. But it's the world we live in.
For now.
Yeah, for now. Okay, so now that you guys know a little bit about me, we should really talk about what we're going to be doing this season.
Yes. So I've mentioned it a little bit, but I think we need to shine a bit of a spotlight on the people doing the hard work to make the UK tech ecosystem the incredible thing that it is. There are so many incredible women that are involved in the VC world, that are creating innovative tech products. And I personally feel like we don't hear enough from them. So I'm really excited to get to chat to them and hear about how they're finding it. Yeah, what about it are you excited
No,
about?
I agree. I think we need to spotlight some Black UK tech founders.
Absolutely.
But I'm also excited about, like, I'm on this journey now. I'm
Mhm.
becoming a technical person.
Mhm.
And I also think it's important that we look at that too. Like, what does getting into tech look like today?
Yes. Yeah, because
Because the landscape
I
has
did it 4
changed.
years
Yeah.
ago and the landscape has changed. It's very, very different now. And to be honest, I don't necessarily think I mean that in like a negative way either, because when I did it 4 years ago, it was during the pandemic when there was like tech took a
Yeah.
nosedive. There were hiring freezes across the board and nobody was willing to take a chance on a junior. This time round, I think we're in a similar spot with the like lower availability of entry level roles.
Mhm.
But I also think we're in a different kind of space where I did not have access to the AI tools that you have access to
That
right
is the
now.
thing. AI. Like, AI is coming for everyone.
Yeah. And it's changed how I work. Like
Yeah.
I build in a completely different way now. And it's not to say that I fully rely on it, but like it is part of my workflow and how I review things and how I research things. And I'm so excited to see how you use that in your
Oh,
learning.
yeah. Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think for every tech role, AI also has a role. Like, even as a product marketing manager, I prompted my my
Yeah.
chat GPT. It was helping me so much.
Yeah.
So I feel like, yeah, we definitely should talk about AI.
Mm-hmm. And then also on the broader theme of the tech job market and
Yeah.
how that's changing, like we've definitely seen a shift in team sizes, and we can't not mention all of the big layoffs that have been happening
Yeah.
over the last couple of years. Like applying for a job, I remember it wouldn't have been 4 years ago, but maybe 2 years ago, you would have your LinkedIn inbox full of like recruiters all the time.
Yeah.
I would have multiple people in a week. And even if I compare that to now, that's changed a lot.
Yeah, I think we have to ask the question is getting into tech or is being in tech enough?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
Mm-hmm.
if you put like AI in your LinkedIn headline, maybe it would
Yeah.
get
Yeah. Are
those
we all going to
DMs
be
filled.
prompt engineers in the next couple of
Probably.
years?
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of the people we're going to be speaking to are career experts and career coaches. And I think it's really important that we try and figure out how we as a community can kind of protect ourselves against these changes. And again, I don't think it's all bad. I think we need to figure out how we make the most of a difficult situation.
Oh, we'll do some blockchain things.
Yeah, we are going to do blockchain
Oh, I
stuff.
forgot about that. Maybe
Yeah.
I think we should also have a blockchain 101.
Yes, I need that.
Oh my
I
gosh.
need that.
That would be fun.
And it would be cool as well to experiment a little bit with the format. Like I'd love to do like a screen sharing thing. Because I don't know, are you
Yeah.
when you teach it, or if you teach it, is
I
that
can
something
do.
that you do? Yeah.
Yeah. I normally I just like will sit on a Zoom call. Oh, not a
Mhm.
Zoom call, Google Meet. I hate Zoom. Oh,
What's your
sorry,
beef
no
with
offense.
Zoom? What's your
It's so clunky.
It is so
Oh
clunky.
my goodness.
That's
But
got to be one of the biggest tech, like not come up. What's the opposite of a come up?
yeah, this is a flop.
Yeah. They had the market and they lost
It's
it.
just so clunky.
It's so bad.
It's just not. It's just. Anyways, no. I mean, Zoom, if you want to sponsor us, then we can.
Yes.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, get some slides going. It's very simple things.
That sounds fun.
Yeah,
And
we should do some cyber.
cyber,
Some security.
absolutely. A lot of security landscape changes. And that arguably, cybersecurity is an industry that hasn't been hit in the same way. Like there have been layoffs, but I think it's a much more resilient role because, oh my God, there's so many. At the introduction of AI into everybody's everyday workflow is completely like
So many vulnerabilities.
so many vulnerabilities and so many mistakes. So yeah, that would be a really interesting one to get into. But yeah, just yeah.
I was gonna say that, like, I think it would be cool to predict the future of tech.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Ooh.
yeah.
Which do you want to call out a theme for
Oh, I
2025?
don't. I mean, maybe in an episode. You know, I can't
Oh,
be.
do a future of tech
Yeah.
episode. Yeah, okay, that sounds great. That sounds great.
What do we think is gonna like be long standing?
Yeah. Who's
where
gonna
should-
win the
yeah.
AI race?
Exactly. Ooh.
All things we're going to
We
discuss.
should get into prompt engineering for sure. Like we should do an episode on that.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's literally like a role that didn't exist 2 years ago, right? And now
It's like integral to like to anyone that uses like an AI agent that
Yeah.
or a chatbot.
So from me and from the Glowing in Tech community, a massive welcome to Shantelle. It's going to be so exciting to chat through all of this with you, and looking forward to hearing more from you.
I'm really excited. Thank you for having me.
Of
Honestly,
course. Big fan for a long time.
I'm really excited to speak to our guests.
Yes.
And just to kind of like uncover the areas of tech that we don't really talk about in the mainstream.
Mm-hmm. And from perspectives that we don't often hear from.
Exactly.
So
Insiders.
Yeah. Great. So thanks a lot for listening, and see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you in the next one.